If you're from Indiana and you're watching this, Black Indy Live is one of the most popular Instagram news pages for Black people in period, I would say. One of the most popular news pages on Instagram for people from Indianapolis. 42,000 followers. I honestly thought there would be more. 141K followers on Facebook. Indiana's number one Black news platform, and that is not an exaggeration, right? Okay, so over the last, I think like starting last week, they started using an AI news broadcaster. Her name is Ray Reporter Bay. And at first look, when I saw this, I hated it because I am a journalist. I'm literally doing what the Reporter Bay is doing. It's taking my job. That's the quickest way to say it. And let me see where I'm at. We're at 37 minutes, 37, 47, 57. So really 47. And we want to talk about this for less than 10 minutes. Okay. So Black Indy Live, one of the most popular Black news outlets and really news outlets period for people living in Indiana. I would say if you have Instagram and you don't follow them, I am almost 1,000% sure if you don't follow them, someone you follow follows them. Okay. And even if you don't follow them, you have seen a Black Indy Live post. Very popular, very big account, and they do good work. And about a week ago, they started using AI to create like an AI news broadcaster called Reporter Bay Ray, for short. Reporter Bay Ray, a play on words, right? And of course, a lot of people, it received a lot of backlash for all the conversations with AI. One of them being you're taking jobs from actual broadcasters. It kind of looks bad. I will say I'm not used to it. Live from Hawville is what it says on her sweatshirt. You see her right up there. It doesn't look the best. It's not visually pleasing, but that's because I think it's made by Sora, which is an AI company that is still fairly new. So as it gets better, it will be visually pleasing more. As soon as I saw this, the first video, I could see it was AI, and it left a bad taste in my mouth, and I didn't like it. And I knew in the back of my mind they were going to have to introduce us. I think that's what that's called, I think this is like called Meet Ray. Yeah. I knew they were going to have to do an introduction and say why they were doing this. And after I read this, they posted this 4 hours ago. I get completely why they do it. And even though I don't like it, I feel differently than how I did when I saw that first Reporter Bay post like a week ago, like really only like 3 or 4 days ago. So let's read this. Meet Ray, our new AI digital correspondent, also known as Reporter Bay. If you've been on our page the past few days, you've already seen the conversations, jokes, reactions, and opinions pouring in, and that's perfectly fine. Honest conversation is a part of what built Black Indy Live. Here's the reality. Ray is not here to replace real people. She's here to help us elevate the presentation of the work we already do. Elevate the presentation. If you've watched the segments, you can clearly see the reporting, scripting, research, editing, voiceovers, and storytelling are still done by an actual human. Ray mainly handles intros, outros, transitions, and on-screen delivery the same way major national networks use digital tools to enhance production. Her first 2 segments have been major success, reaching thousands of viewers, sparking real engagement. This is where I think I really they get into their bag of this post. Black Indy Live doesn't have $1 million studios, a staff of salaried anchors, or corporate equipment. What we do have is a massive audience, the credibility to break stories, and the creativity to innovate without waiting for permission, which is all things I enjoy, which is all things I like as someone who wants to be the owner of a media corporation. All you need is an audience, the tools and equipment to say the news to them, and the credibility to break stories, which they have, and creative. I mean, all these things are right. Using AI simply allows us to deliver a stronger, more consistent TV level viewing experience without losing the human side of our storytelling. We're not going to limit ourselves just because independent Black platforms are expected to do more with less. If our community wants Black run media to grow, compete, and look professional, then we have to use the same tools major outlets use. They said, thank you to everyone. To our knowledge, we're the first independent platform with a significant following to roll out AI enhanced news broadcasting. And that's an important thing too, is like, you want to be ahead of the curve, not with the curve, and definitely not behind it, but you want to be ahead of the curve. And they aren't wrong in the thought that there are going to be a lot of different media companies that come after them, that use AI news broadcasters to do their work. And I like the fact of them honing in on that, like, Black platforms are expected to do more with less. They're expected to do more with less, but they're doing this from the right perspective, even though it looks really bad, and I'm sure it leaves a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth. Let me read some of the comments. The comments on your other posts are resoundingly against this. Not sure why you want to push this so hard, as your content has been good enough to build such a large audience without it. I get you want the page to do more professional, but this is not the way to do it. Tacky and delegitimizes your message. I hear you, but one thing I've learned running a platform this size is that the unhappiest people are always the loudest. Race segments have put in hundreds of likes and thousands of views in less than 24 hours, which I believe. That's the real metric, not a handful of people. This is another interesting one. Sorry, but I will be unfollowing. This was a great source of news, but I'm not interested in supporting something that is playing such a large role in the destruction of our environment. And so they're going on the environmental portion of this, which I like this, and we'll get to that. Posting from a cell phone built with African slave labor, carried around in a car burning fossil fuels, using the internet that creates more environmental waste than most industries, but we're the villains for occasionally using AI to help inform people. The holier than thou act ain't adding up. And this point is interesting to me too, with the whole, there's the conversation of you're taking jobs away from actual journalists and actual people, which I can get as a journalist doing this live without AI. But at the same time, I also get this man or woman saying, we don't have the money, because I'm not going to lie, I wouldn't want to go on somebody else's platform for free and do journalism for them when I can have my own platform and try to build my own thing. At least not at first, unless there's some type of give and take for that. They are saying they don't have the money to do that. They're saying we have to use the tools and resources we have to put together the best content we can. And with AI, we see something new coming and we're going to using that. So that's the conversation with, should you be like taking these jobs away from actual reporters, right? Then there's the conversation that this person is saying with, this is bad for the environment, which, it makes me think of like the conversation. If you haven't seen the show Landman, it made me think of this, because Landman is a show that maybe in another week we'll do like shows you should watch. But Landman is basically just going into to gas and how oil is drilled, and it sounds really boring, but it's really good. It's a scripted show, but it talks about the business of oil. But one of the main things they do is like talk about how oil is in every single aspect of our life, and you try to get away from it, and you want to get away from it so bad, but you're kind of sitting on like your moral high horse, because it's something that literally makes the world turn and tick. And even if you have your Tesla or whatever, your electric car, you are still participating in the use of gas in some way, because you don't live under a rock, you live in society. And it's kind of just so ingrained into this world that it's not gas, or it's not these data centers, or it's not all of this that's hurting the world. It's humans and our consumption of these things. And to try to act better than someone for openly using them is kind of acting holier than thou, when you point one finger at someone and you have three pointing back at you. And while I am in the middle with that, I do kind of agree with that sentiment that Black Indy Live is making, is that, like, I feel like at this point the question with AI is, have we gotten to Pandora's box yet? Which is the question on whether or not are we able to not use it as much and turn back to where we didn't have AI? Or is it now the ball's already rolling and we have to now think about the way that we're going to use AI and what's going to happen? And I believe the box is already open. There's no closing it, bro. There's no getting rid of AI. And I think to get rid of AI would be like trying when our parents 20 and 30 years ago were not like 2000 or in the 1990s, back when the internet started. Like, when was that? I'm just going to look it up, because I know if I don't. When was the internet invented? 1983. Okay. 1969, first network connection. 1970, development protocols. 1930, the official birthday. So 1989, the World Wide Web. So let's go off of this. The World Wide Web, www, 1990, basically. I looked this up to say, trying to say, oh, I'm just not going to use AI, I'm going to go against AI, is like your parents in 1990 saying, I'm not going to use the internet. You can't get away with it. It's a part of life. And I don't think people will agree with this, or I don't think people realize that I think this is where we're at AI. And if you look at from 1989, when the World Wide Web started, to 2025, so just that amount of time, it's almost hard to comprehend how much has changed with everything in the world, from every aspect of the world. The way people are able to trade stocks. I don't know, in my mind, it was like the way people are to trade stocks, the way that people in sociology, like how people interact with each other and feel about each other. Dating sucks. People can't talk to people. A new generation of like mentally what it's done to kids with raising kids, from babies to teenagers to everything, to where the internet, where people don't even, you get like groceries and it's changed so much that it's hard to think of a world with me born in it without it. And I think when you look 20, 30 years down the line with AI, it's going to change the world in ways that we aren't able to think. And I say that to say, what Black Indy Live is doing is trying to be ahead of the curve. I think they would agree with me when I say there's no running away from AI. There's no putting a picket fence and saying I'm not going to use AI. Because I think even if you don't use ChatGPT, you use AI and you don't even know it. Every single app right here on the internet, like if you look right here, it's whatchamacallit, it's our Gemini and Chrome. Gemini's Chrome's AI. If you type in anything with Google, it gives you the AI answer. You use that AI answer. When you type into Google right now, you like the AI answer probably. Hypocrite. They're kind of right. Now, some in these comments, they kind of get a little mean, but I get why you're getting mean when people are like, quickest unfollow, boo. I get people being angry. Reporting on ongoing protests against the local AI data center. That's interesting. Like an interesting thing. Looking forward to the ridiculousness. That'll be Ray here reporting on ongoing protests against the local AI data centers to protect our environment. Like, this is a very nuanced and complicated conversation because the data centers are bad. AI is affecting the world. But at the same time, I wonder how many of the people commenting have ever tried to put together a piece of visual media commentary. Of any sorts, whether it be just a picture, whether it be a video, whether it be a clip, whether it be you just putting your phone up and making a 3-minute video. It is way more complicated than just saying the news, especially when you're trying to entertain people. And why at first I hated this, now I simply dislike it and can understand it, especially Black Indy Live. If this is just one person doing this, I can understand it even more because this kind of, it fits their lane in a way. It's not as bad as I originally thought. And I think this response is really good because it covers a lot of different bases. It covers their fans and why they're angry and understanding it and saying thank you for the commentary, good and bad. But it also tells why they're doing it. And then if the segments are doing better than ever, the segments are doing better than ever. You know what I'm saying? Like, if the segments are doing better than ever, they're going to keep doing them. I mean, we'll see. I mean, unfollow 42K followers. Let's see if people make a dent. Are people going to really unfollow? People are really not going to watch because they give good news. It looks good when you look at Black Indy Live. Now, let's look at them. Let's look at one of them. This is where I'll end it because I don't like the way this
hours after our coverage on Black Indy Live went viral. Customers say AES.
There's the Sora AI watermark.
Admitting they overcharge people. He now claims a billing error caused these deposits to be.
I will say the only thing I'll say with Black Indy Live is it's not the AI that it's not the AI itself that I'm mad at the moment. I'll just say it doesn't look good yet, but that's just the technology. The technology will get better, and as you're ahead of the curve, once it gets better, people will like it better. Maybe eventually it'll get to the point where someone can't tell it's AI. That's the goal, and that's scary. Morally, I don't like AI. Like, I really, we're going to have an AI segment on this show because I don't like AI. But specifically for this Black-owned media platform that seems to be ran by a single person, that who knows their funding, who knows their money, would you donate money for them to be able to then hire a person like me? Do it, because then I'd work with them. Like, it's for this specific situation, I think it's more complex than people like to make it out to be. but it's a very interesting story, and something that I wanted to talk about, and something that I'll be interested to keeping an eye out on.